Well, hi, good morning, and thanks so much for joining me in my shop here for another attempt at aligning this radio. Now, I haven't posted videos for a few days, and that's because of how things have been going in my shop here. I just haven't been able to get anything to work well enough that I can publish something on YouTube that won't leave everybody scratching their heads, including me. So this morning I came in here, I pretty much got the whole alignment process under control. I'm working away at it, working on the S-curve, all that kind of stuff, but just couldn't get things to work out right. I then decided to test the radio itself, put an antenna on it, have a listen. Did that. I then decided I would wing it. I would just take my alignment tool and go at the stuff that I've been aligning. And in doing that, I discovered that the very, very first alignment step had not worked out, and that everything I've been doing subsequently is based on an early step not working out. That's not good. You really want to do these things in a stepwise process, and you want each step to be secure and correct before you go on to the next step. Or you end up with 5 videos you haven't posted yet. Maybe this will be number 6. So I'm going right back to the start, and the very first thing that needs to be checked and corrected is the little transformer in the tuner that feeds the IF signal out of the tuner and into the IF. So that little guy is located in this hole here. That's the transformer. So we're going to start at square one, and I'm going to just try to work my way through this process one step at a time, correctly, like I've done so many other times. Am I the only guy who finds this kind of work very frustrating? So we need to monitor how well we're doing with this. So there is a detector circuit I have here. It's disconnected at the moment. I'm thinking I'm going to have to reconnect it and utilize it. I know I will. So that's step one. Reconnect the little circuit there. Now this has been extremely frustrating, and some of it is my own fault because I decided I would spend some time trying to get this sweep generator operating, which I've had great success in, by the way. I'll be using it at some point in this process. You can see right now it's this sweep generator that's running, or signal generator that's running. I have this generator hooked up just to the antennas here. Feed the signal right through the entire radio. Of course, the first thing I'm going to do is part of the tuner, so you have to feed your test signal in through the antenna or it'll bypass the tuner. We can't have that. I guess I got to turn this on. That's always a helpful part of this. Okay, we can see there's something up on my scope here. Now, so my scope is operating XY. No, it's not. It's operating in its normal fashion with its internal sweep. So we're just seeing a very nice sine wave way down here. Wasn't I going to reconnect this circuit? Maybe I don't need to. Maybe I can do what I'm going to do here. The signal gets stronger in the radio. It'll get stronger down here. This is where the AFC S-curve test point is. So, but we're not looking at it that way. I'm not using the sweep functions of the signal generator. What I want to do is I just want to make this bigger by tuning this transformer. Think a little bit about this. I think I got to make sure the radio is tuned to the frequency of the signal generator, which is 1 megahertz. So I'll tune the radio a bit. See what happens to the scope. Yikes. See, another problem is the play in the tuning is still causing me headaches. So what I'm going to do, that looks maximum there, I'm going to tune the tuning knob here. It's actually much easier to use than the radio tuning knob. You see that one? See this one go this way, it goes crazy? That's all sign of bad alignment, I think. Okay, so this is a mono signal, no 19 kilohertz coming, and let's see if I can make that bigger just by tuning this transformer in the tuner. Okay, no lower slug, max there, upper slug. Appear to be maxed right in here. There's not much change on that display. You probably can't see it from looking so far away in the camera. Lower slug again. This is the one where the lower slug was stuck and I couldn't do anything with it for a while. Well, that looks to me to be as big as it's going to get. Now, I've been trying to do the alignment using wave shape, or the response curve is what I really should be saying. But I'm going to try it right now just by peaking the strength of this signal. Things should be tuned pretty close because I've been doing this for how many years have I been working on this radio now? So it says when you do the IF transformers to in any order. Okay, here we go. I'm going to give you the close-up view of the oscilloscope so you can see a little more of what's happening here. There we go. Slug 1 of 4. Okay, down the lower slug. So I could be doing this with a voltmeter. These receivers, generally you need to do the sweep thing and stuff like that to really get it right. But I'm trying to ballpark this and make sure nothing is way out of sorts. So if I do a more refined job, I know I'm close to start rather than far to start. I try to get in the lower slug. There we go. Lower slug here. Sticky. Say that's it. Let me try the upper slug again. Okay. Now there's one more transformer here. This is the one that's actually part of the discriminator. And I think there's no good reason to tune it in this fashion. I think you really do need to have the S curve and all that stuff. But I'm tuning. Just going to max it. It's maybe completely the wrong thing to do, but I'm doing it. This one down here. So, okay, there we are. What did I do to this radio? So I didn't turn too much. Yeah, let's have a listen. Let's have a listen to it. Hopefully I've got a good starting point here. The main thing was to tune that first transformer. It was, as I discovered before I started the video, it was far enough out, it was suppressing the signal a lot. That's no good. Okay, I guess it's still picking up the signal generator here. Well, we'll tune the radio. We're going to be tuning the radio, so I can leave the signal generator there. We'll turn it up. We'll go try to pick up a station on these. That's some kind of interference. Maybe that's my soldering iron. How do you like that? That was my soldering iron. Something else interfering there. Nice hiss now.
Section of the model. Just more ignorance and fear, and seeing one act of Islamist extremism, for example, as representative of all Muslims' beliefs, or seeing, one headline about an honor killing or
who needs instruments here?
discrimination or abuse of women done in the name of Islam, seeing that as representative of Islam's fundamental beliefs.
Okay.
But I think that if people understood that there are not just many cultural
Doesn't sound too good.
understanding and more
So this particular station here, this is a mono
station.
station. This would be a stereo station.
Jewish.
Weak though. I gotta tell you, this radio's working better than it's ever worked. all this equipment, all that time. And I do the simplest thing and get a good result. Okay, but we don't know that it's precise. Let's go a little further here. Yeah, I've been climbing the stairway, but it's not been taking me to heaven. That's the problem. Well, I tell you, the receiver's working better than it's ever worked. But I abandoned all the official alignment techniques here. Just unbelievable. Well, now I'm going to try the official stuff, which is to get these curves. These two curves. First, we're going to go after this curve. So this is the IF bandpass curve. We're going to see it by putting a sweep signal through the radio and looking at what comes out of this little circuit that I have sticking out here. I have to solder that back in, and we'll see how that goes. I can't believe it. Better to wing it. Yeah. From now on, never follow the instructions. Just grab your tool and start twisting. Grab your tool. Sounds like another weird male thing. Let me fool around here on my own for a little bit. Oh, don't take that literally. So I'm going to have to be careful here because I have completely exhausted my patience with this. I have limits too. So I'm finding that this frustration that is built up in me is interfering with me doing the right things here. So I'm going to try to not let that happen. It is tricky. This is a psychologically damaging hobby. Because you spend vast amounts of time wrong and confused. Okay, but glory does lie down the road somewhere if I can only get down there. So I've hooked up now to the output of the IF as instructed in the manual. I should get that curve on the scope. Here we go. Ooh, maybe I can only get the curve if I do this and do this. So what that was putting up a circular trace here, the circular sweep. This is a sweep generated with 60 Hertz. And how about some output? How about some output from here? Okay, so we were listening to a radio station. I'm not tuned to the 100. I got to tune it down to 100. Should see something. Let's tune it in with the tuner here. Sounds terribly distorted to me, but that's because we have this circuit in place now. That's something I learned. Once this circuit is in place, the radio beyond it No. You must remove the circuit every time you do stuff beyond it. That was a hard lesson learned. A birdie flew in my ear and told me about that one. So we don't want to listen to it, because listening to it doesn't mean anything. We just want to look at it, and what do we see? We see nothing. Why are we seeing nothing? Why do I do this to myself every day? This should be on DC. We'll make this more sensitive. There is nothing to be seen. Oh my. If you're looking at this cable, it's doing nothing. It's coming from the other signal generator, but it's not doing anything. Why do we see nothing now? We aren't seeing nothing. We're seeing a hissy signal there. That's what's on the scope. Oh, look at that. Yeah, the frustrations don't stop with the electronics. They continue into the world of video making here. I'm just calling up the manual dialog box for the camera you're looking through, because it no longer autofocuses properly. I have to focus it by hand. Well, it's not really by hand, is it? There we are. That's a little easier to look at. Now, why isn't there a nice curve there? Well, we don't have the machine running on sweep. Let's put it on sweep. A little sound effect there for me. Still don't see the curve there. Let's tune a little bit. This is where things get really tricky, because you say, well, where's the right tune spot? What we should be seeing is that nice curve. And this is where I back up again in frustration. Oh my gosh, is this not connected? Yes, it is. So I'm doing something a little odd here. I'm using the sweep from one machine and the actual test signal from another. Not so appropriate. So we're going to switch around a bit here. I'm going to inject the sweep signal. Let me turn off the receiver. Oh my God, here I go. I'm going down the slippery slope. I feel it already. I have the answer. The answer is I never hooked up the signal generator. That's the answer. Okay, let's hook it up. The output of the signal generator I'm using is set absolutely to its lowest setting. He says, double checking the truth of that. Back on. Now we got something more interesting on the oscilloscope. What have we got there? So this is an unblanked display based on using 60 Hertz sweep going back and forth. Of course, it's very fast in the middle, it's slow around the edges. That's how the sweep works. It's a little brighter out here than it is in the middle. It's an out and a back, and it looks different going out and coming back. It doesn't trace exactly the same because of reasons I don't know. I'm going to tune the radio a little bit. Hot diggity dog, eh? So I would guess, you'd have to guess, properly tuned is with this crossing right in the middle here. Now this is not the S curve in any way. This is something weird. I got a better. Well, let's carry on with this. This is going right into the antenna, going through the whole radio until it gets to this point where we're looking at it. It's not helping me at all. So what we have a choice here. I can do the sweep more properly, let's do that. This is the proper sweep output cable from that signal generator. Right now I was cheating and using the sweep from this guy up here. It's just a 60 hertz sweep. And so is this. I thought, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But maybe not. So we're going to kill the sweep here. Whoops, slap my microphone there. Pull these leads out of here. I'm going to hook up this guy. Resistor here if I need it. Let's see why I would need it. So all this is doing is causing the sweep on the scope. Right? The scope is set to XY mode. Well, this is now the sweep from the proper thing. Again, it looks almost identical. I think just flipped over. So this is where everything gets really quite weird. Why is it not the nice shape? Why is it not looking like that? I don't have too many controls on the sweep itself with this sweep generator. So this is the deviation control. It's possible this is the response curve here, and it's displaced on the way back just from phasing stuff. That happens. So we would ignore one of these in favor of the other and just believe one of them to be the alignment. Now there's no marker amp built into this guy. I have to put a marker on there. So, so I'm going to turn on another signal generator here. How many times have I gone through this? A little different every time. Little different every time. What's different about this is I believe I've succeeded in tuning that first transformer properly. Which, although you saw me tune it a little bit, it was way out just before I started the video. So, okay, we're going to set the marker to 10.7 here. I call it a marker simply because you use it to mark on your display where a particular frequency is. Here we are, 10.7. What are we doing with it? Well, we got to do something with it now. Currently, it's going way up here. So one of the places we could inject this is into the IF. If there's a terminal here, I can inject it right into the IF. It's going to mess up, I think. We'll try this, but I think it's going to mess up badly the signal that's coming through from the antenna. And I would want to make sure this is down here. Signal wise, signal strength wise, and we're going to want to pad it out. Here's what I'm using here in my capacitor and resistor pad. It's a 0.1. It's actually a large capacitor here, 0.1. I'm going to stick it on the IF thing. I'm going to turn the radio off during that process because there's a warning in the manual about blowing things up. I haven't blown anything up yet. Well, as far as I know, I haven't blown anything up. Certainly there's been no smoke to this point. Okay, so this will be the marker. I'll stick it on there. Let's get the radio going again. One great thing about transistor radios is you turn them on and off all you like. Okay, we're going to hook this up here. I had no impact on the radio, on the scope. How far-fetched is that? That's hard to believe. That's really hard to believe. Maybe it's so isolated as did I hook up the right thing? I did not hook up the right thing. Good thing I asked myself that question. Let's get this extra lead out of here. This is what happens on a messy bench. Okay, now this time we'll actually hook up the signal generator. Let me attach the ground. This time I'm sure it's going to disturb that display. And you see? You see? You see? What am I hooking up now? This is definitely the output from there. Well, that's good. I'm stunned that it's on the right terminal and everything. Okay, so I'm going to increase the output level of this signal generator and we should start seeing things. But first I'm going to get rid of this antenna box out here, the Color Eagle. Whoops, whoops. Okay. Get up the level on this guy and see what happens on the screen. I'll give you the close-up on the scope here. Okay, here we go. Up one. Ooh. Excellent. Okay, so what it did is it's drawn down some of the signal. Either it's triggered a response out of the radio. Somehow the radio has turned itself down. Don't think so. Or it's just drained some of the signal out. Now the pit mark, or where the 10.7 is there, and you see it again here. Out and back. Even though the sweep is going up and coming down, it should paint the very same image. It's just painting it offset a little bit. So ignoring one of them in favor of the other. And this is showing 10.7. You would hope it would be dead center. It's not quite. It's over here. So I'm going to try to tune the IF transformers. Yeah, I think I'm just going to let you look at the scope here. And I'll tell you what I'm doing. So the IF transformer's got 4 slugs to do and 2 transformers. The instructions are any order. Okay, so I'm starting in any order. Oh boy. Okay, so my objective is to get this shape to look like that and to have that dead center of whatever shape I end up with. So let's start. Okay, that's 1 slug. Now I've got to get in the lower slug here. Oh. Wrong end of my alignment tool. So I'm pushing through the top slug, down in the bottom slug, turning it. Doesn't seem to want to improve in any direction. We'll go on to top slug in the next transformer. Now, I mean, I had been trying to align this, so I shouldn't be too surprised if it turns out I can't do much more. I can't seem to do much to it. I mean, everything, everywhere I go, it looks worse. Well, we can increase the signal strength here. I don't like that. That looks like it's overdriven. So this is the next question. Am I overdriving the radio? And what we're looking at is the results of an overdriven radio. So how do you know that? The only way is to reduce the drive and see what happens. I can't reduce it anymore as it stands. So I'm going to pad the input with what? What should I pad it with? What if I stick a 50 ohm resistor? Well, so there already is a little network in here, a little termination network on the end of that cable. But I want to weaken it. Weaken it. Jim, you're good at weakening things. You've been really good at that. Well, let's just try with a capacitor. I mean, you're staring at that thing. Here we go. This is where the real excitement is here. Well, I would just take one off. I just take one off. So that weakened it a wee bit. Didn't change anything. How about I take the other one off? That'll weaken it. That's really weak now. Well, the radio's still picking it up. One thing I should make sure the scope is just about as sensitive as it can go. Now what's happening now is the marker frequency is just way high compared to the real signal. I'm going to reduce the marker and go even a little further. So we say no distortion introduced from the marker at that setting, but if we go higher, ooh, that's what you get. Okay, so now we got a curve here, and we got a little bit there, and the marker in the middle. I've reduced things quite a bit. I mean, I don't even have the signal generator connected to the radio. It's receiving on its screws. I don't think I can get any lower than that. Okay, let's twiddle those transformers again. See what happens this time. Were we trying to align an overloaded radio? Look at the difference. Look at the difference. This is the first slug. Okay, so now we haven't got 10.7 in the middle. So I'm trying to sort of see with my mind's eye the curve I'm sliding back and forth. Oop, what happened there? Did I just slip slugs? You see the pip is completely gone. So what's happened here is I'm way off. We need to have the peak over this way. Other transformer. 4 slugs. Look at that. Wow. Okay, we're cooking with gas now. So I still think the 10.7 marker's down in here. That's getting the marker closer to the top. That's a little better. Okay, other transformer again, back to the first one. Now that's interesting. We get a nice wide top, and that's not what it's looking for in the service man. Oh, look at that. There we are. That's the one that's going to do it. We'll put them right on the top. Okay, and see if we can get the shape now to be nice, really nice. Just try and each one of these 4 slugs. Try to get a lower slug here. There we go. Oh my gosh, that was a big change. Since it said kind of do them in any order, I think the hint is you really got to do what I'm doing. Just keep trying stuff over and over. It certainly is getting peaked up. Go back to the first one again. Maximum. Now it looks to me like it's right on the top. Lower slug. Oh my gosh, look at this. By Jove. Once again, I think I've done it. So under this scenario, it looks to me like I put the 10.7 marker at the top of that peak and managed to raise it up. The shape is not uniform. Some of that could be because of nonlinearities in the way the sweep is operating and stuff like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to the other signal generator and just blow my head apart on it. So we're going to use Heathkit sweep generator. We want to, wow, doesn't matter where you put this. What was I tuning against? Let's tune this a little bit. Just watch what happens on the scope. Doesn't change the shape, just it's moving. Yeah, doesn't change the shape. Good. Leave it there. So I am currently injecting at 100 megahertz. Switch this guy off. Got to change the sweep input over here to the other guy. Okay, there he is, sweeping away. Output is just hanging right here. The output from the sweep generator I'm about to use. This can be pumped into here. I'm going to take off the marker and put on. Take this right off here. Put this guy on. What are we gonna see? Not much. Okay. There's a tiny, tiny little pip right there. Here, have a look. You think that's it? I will, at this point it doesn't matter where the radio's tuned because we're pumping right into the IF. I will increase the strength of the RF coming over to the radio, the 10.7 swept RF. There it is, bingo. Got a funny hump on it there. So this is, now this, if you notice, there's only one thing here, there's not two anymore. The generator I'm using now comes across feeding a signal through the radio and you get this response. When it gets to here and it starts on its way back, it shuts its own output off. That's where that little bit of straight line is coming from, right there above my finger. Because normally on the sweep back you would encounter the resonant circuit again and the frequency would pass through it and you get another hump, maybe right on top of this, but maybe not, like the other one was off to the side. But this particular unit has a blinking feature, so it does a nice job of it. Now, how do we know anything? Once again, where is 10.7? I have to make some adjustments to make this as usable as possible. So first we're going to move it down. I'm going to adjust the sweep width up here to make it like that. I'm going to adjust the center sweep frequency to move that more into the center. So now that is screaming out misalignment. The last thing didn't scream out misalignment. And now I'm going to try to insert the marker. This is done through the device, but I'm not sure it's doing much. But let's see if we can see it. Okay, we're now hitting it with a marker at 10.7. Did I use the right cable? Yes. But I sure don't see anything in here. So I'm going to change the marker frequency around. I hope to see something. I see nothing. So, well, again, am I overloading the radio? And that's why this looks this way. So I'm going to reduce it, you know, right down to almost nothing. And I don't think so. Now I'm going to go up. So maybe up in this range, we're starting to hit the limit of the radio. Let me hit it with an even stronger signal here. Look at the situation there. Wow. Okay, we're going to go low, let's set it there. I'm going to try to find the marker again, just in case it's somehow becoming visible. Not there. I'm running full tilt on the marker. checking my wires. It's not visible. Okay, let's reduce this way down. See if the marker can be seen now. Okay, this is 10.9. What am I doing? 10.9, 10.8, 10 point, coming into 10.7. And I don't see it. Well, that's disappointing. We've got to be able to see this marker. Let me do another thing here. That's the marker amp being switched on, which didn't seem to make any difference when I was doing this earlier. One of my failed videos bringing the marker through. No. What have I done with what have I done here? Well, it just doesn't want to appear. Hey, here's another thing we can do. We can do this and do this. Okay, do we see it now? Do we see it now? Look very, very carefully. Where am I? 11, I'm up at 11 megahertz, down to around 10 here. You see it going through there? I don't see anything. So we're done. We've got to know this is 10.7. Okay, another approach. Instead of trying to feed the marker, I'm feeding the marker signal into something called external mark on this signal generator. I'm going to try a more direct approach. Just feed it in along with the other signal generator. A little bit of isolation might be good. Okay. There it is. Woo! Woo! Well, that really took things out of the picture, didn't it? Wow. Okay, let me drop the output level way down. Still do that. It's killing the signal. That's okay though, because I've got signal to spare. Give it more here. Okay, we still got that double hump shape. And I'm going to move the marker around. Come on, man. A little higher. There it is. There it is. There it is. Finally we see it. So marker coming up the right hand side, hitting the top, going down, hitting the top of that other one right there, and then leaving. Now that one, that's 10.9. Okay, and this one, as soon as I just put the marker right on the top and then read my, is 10.7. So the interesting thing is, what is this doing out here? Is this one of those slugs being way out? Let's go hunting. Let's go. Let's slug the radio here. Okay, first slug. Well, that's really interesting. You can make it go away. Let me put it back. Okay, so let's first slug back to where it was. Now the other slug in the same transformer. Isn't that strange, eh? Okay, maybe it's the other transformer entirely. That just goes kind of up and down. What about the no, slug number 4? This is the last guy. How do you get rid of that crazy bump there? The first slug seemed to be the one that wanted to reduce it. Let's go back to the very first slug. Take us way down like this. Okay, up on the signal sweep strength, or signal strength. Way up on it. Do you sacrifice the height in favor of getting rid of that little bump? Or do you go up here and go, look at that, now that's a classic flat-topped response curve. That's a classic. Let's examine the frequencies on this. So that's like right out of a book, but not the book that came with this radio. It doesn't show the flat top. Okay, so moving the frequency, where is it? It's really hard to see, but I've got it right in the center of the dip at the top there, and it reads 10.855. Okay, let's just go to this peak. This peak over here, 10.77. Okay, so 10.7 is actually running over here. Where is that? It's part way down the right. It's very hard for you to see this, I'm sure. Let me put it back to, let's see, so we're on 10.7. Let me give him more, yeah, not that much. I believe we're right here. That's 10.7 right there. When I look at the display with my own eyes, it's a little clearer for me to see it. But we want that to be here. We want this over there. Okay. Let's see if we can get it over there. Coming down here, we return it to a more normal, or what looks like the curve in the manual. And move it over this way. Bingo. We're almost done. That's, I'm sure you can see the effect at the peak there now. Go back to the other transformer. Try to grow it up a bit. It starts putting this part in. We're better off to suppress it. Well, the radio's response, you know, you're listening to the stuff up here. The stuff down here is pretty quiet. I think that's how I would interpret that. So if you got something weird way out here, chances are you'd never hear it, I think. Okay, I want just to fiddle around with the other ones. That's an even nicer curve there. I really suppressed that thing at the front. And the last slug, down we go. Because the instruction, I'll read the instructions. What exactly it says I'm supposed to be trying to do. For optimum amplitude and symmetry. So what is it? Is it amplitude you really want to go for and sacrifice symmetry, or do you want to have a nice symmetrical and sacrifice amplitude? Symmetrical, I think, is more important, because I know what's coming up in this radio, and I think symmetrical is more important. Okay, I'm going to leave the tool right in this slug. All this does is make it go strong, more or less stronger or weaker. I'm going to set it where I'd like it, and then we're going to listen to this radio and see what we got out of this. Or should I go? I should go further. We should go further. Do the S curve, he says. I just kind of walked face first into my own camera here. What camera? This camera. Okay, so if we want to do the S curve, I have to disconnect this circuit. We're going to move our scope down to here. This is the S curve test point. Hey, before I do that, let me just turn on again. Yeah, what the scope shows with that circuit connected is that. But we should see an S curve. There we are. There's an S curve there. Let's get it up higher on the screen. You know what? I might be able to do this. Maybe I can leave that circuit in there. There is the S curve. It has the 10.7. Kind of see it bopping right in the middle here. So the curve is not in the right shape. So I'm going to put my alignment tool into the transformer that you are supposed to adjust to make the S curve look nice, and we're adjusting. Let me get the marker out of the way and adjust it. So it's a lot below and not as much above. Now that doesn't seem right to me either. Okay, we're adjusting the other lower slug. There's two slugs. It's not doing much, is it? Okay, back up to the upper slug. Doing this without watching the 10.7. The goal here is to get this, oh, for crying out loud. Been looking at my shoulder this whole time. Yes, you were looking at my shoulder. So the goal here is to get this line straight. As straight as possible. I would think you'd want this and this to look the same also. Okay, other slug. Back to the top one. Seems like it really favors that lower part. Now, could that be some kind of tuning thing or some kind of sweep width problem? Change the sweep width. It does have an effect, doesn't it? Because it looks like as I swing the sweep width over here, this starts disappearing. There's problems going on with the sweep there. If I come back here, it looks like it gets bigger and bigger. So is that an artifact of just the sweeping thing, or is that... Oh, the questions I asked myself. What else could I adjust? Level. Look at that. So I'm turning the level up. It gets a bend in it. Let's go down. Try this here. Okay, twisting slugs. Kind of max there. Other slug. Come on. There we go. This one just has no effect. How can it have no effect? It's all the way to one limit. A small effect now. Just reduced it a bit. This isn't very good. Okay, I'll put that one in the kind of the middle of its run. I'll go to the other slug. One extreme. Well, there's a little thing there. Like nothing I can do is going to make this. Maybe this line is not really a zero line. Maybe it's disturbed in some way, and the real zero is down here. Might need to listen to the radio for this. Okay, let me just try again. Really can't. One slug's not doing much at all here. The other one's doing all the work. Well, in terms of that being a straight line, looks pretty straight to me, really. Okay, well, we'll assume then that somehow this top and bottom difference doesn't really matter. I'll have a listen to the... have a listen. Let's have a listen. Let's see what we got now. I'm doing that with that circuit connected. You know what? I gotta remove that circuit. I'm sure I do. But I can't be sure that this is correct. Oh, you know what could be happening easily? There's a diode in this little circuit that could be chopping, half the wave somehow. Weakening half the wave. We don't want a weak half wave. This would be a half wave. It's the saddest bit of humor you've ever seen. Okay, I am trying to preserve my wits here. I've been through this so many times. And we just have to melt this and break the connection. There. Okay, this little circuit's now disconnected. This will be interesting. Now we'll see what happens. Receiver back on. Looks quite different, doesn't it? It do look different. Okay, let's first of all get the marker out of the picture completely. Okay. Let's reduce the sweep. Oh, that's much better. It's pretty snowy. What would that be from? That would be not enough signal coming in the radio to cause the limiter to operate. Is the limiter in here yet? I think the signal would have gone through a limiter. Would suggest I should crank it way up. Well, okay, let's crank it way up. Let me make this a little less sensitive. We'll crank it way up here. Yeah. And fool with the sweep width. Well, now what do we got? This is the challenge here. Is that the S curve? Or is that me overloading this radio? It's supposed to be done with the least amount, and you can make a visible deal here. The least amount. Well, when I do the least amount, it's very hard to see now. I have a pretty straight line down here. Some other things I can do here. Increase the impedance of my probe. No, this isn't working at all. Make the probe more sensitive again. Wow, it's really not nothing to write home about, is it? In terms of how it looks. Okay, let's listen to the radio. Let's see what we got. Scope off, antenna on. Frustration. Yeah, I'll be very careful about getting into a frustrated frame of mind and then carrying on with this kind of work. But what can you do? Here we go. Volume down. Yeah. Still have all this stuff connected. Whoops. Off. Want that stuff out of the way. You want the levels down over here and the level down here. So they aren't. Okay, what do we hear? I turned it off. Turn it back on. Now I'm going to do my best to not get a copyright hit here. Go, it's my soldering iron again. That other thing, what's that other thing? It's a helicopter. Is it a helicopter? not going away. Oh, it made the receiver much more sensitive. I think that's what that's telling me.
The campaign to involve me in, you know, a role of a sort of relatively senior volunteer type of person. I think certainly it did cause my school to be disrupted, and I wasn't sure initially whether the
Okay,
school
I'm going
would
to twiddle
be
this. This is the same one
sort
I've
of
been...
supportive or flexible or anything like that. I think luckily probably because I was in the political science department and, you know, I was otherwise a pretty, you know, responsible and whatnot student. My basic thought was that at a minimum, even in the least winnable seats for any given major party, at a minimum you're looking at, let's conservatively say, 1,000 people who would want to vote for that party. And effectively they're disenfranchised if they can't do that. So I think it does a disservice if you don't have someone there doing what they can, giving their best shot. And I think if you have an opportunity to sort of make that process work and provide people a real option to vote in the way they want to do, then yeah, you should. I think it's a good idea to do that as well as you can in the admittedly not ideal circumstances that, you know, that it arose in.
The main reason I agreed to run for the Conservatives at that point was that I believed that Stephen Harper was the best candidate to be Prime Minister. Also, I was interested in finding out what running in a campaign was like, what it entailed, the work that was involved. And it was the writing I was brought up in, so I know the writing really well. And I would talk to people about the history of the writing and some of the mom-and-pop operations that used to be in the writing and since then disappeared. And I found people very receptive.
Canadians call voting districts ridings.
That, you know, people would just say, well, you know, I'm a Liberal or I'm NDP and I don't care to talk to anybody from the Conservative Party. And
Well, that sounds really great. Lots of volume. Sure.
And knocking on people's doors and
Sounds really great.
hands and
Now,
introducing myself.
question.
You know, it's
If we tune in a stereo signal, will that little stereo light come on? This would be a happy moment for me if we did that. So we're going to tune around and see if the stereo light pops on. Come on, stereo light. Getting pretty quiet up here. I'm gonna stop the video for a moment. I'm gonna let this play this song. I'm gonna adjust that thing while the music's playing. It's better to try to hear it, the clearness of it, but I can't let it go out on video or I'll get a copyright hit. So I'm stopping for a moment. And to some degree, it's really embarrassing that you do all this work with all these instruments and try to do all this precision stuff, but in the end it comes down to using your ear. I'm just going to tune through once here quickly. Sounds pretty good. I may have got a hit from that. Picking up stations up here now. No stereo light yet. Okay, I'm going to try the AFC here. Tune to an edge. Fantastic. Fantastic. Oh my gosh. So being smart enough to realize when it's wise to quit while you're ahead, this is a good time for me to stop. Yeah, it's a good time for me to stop. There's many more steps yet. There's the whole stereo discriminator alignment thing and all that kind of stuff yet to go. But I think I've succeeded in doing what I did today. Now, I've said this a few times. Never posted to YouTube. The success wears thin quickly. Usually the next day I come down and what I thought was good is not. But I don't think that's going to happen this time. I think I got it. By Jove. I think he's got it. Okay. That's good. Wow. I'm really brain exhausted here. So thanks a lot for watching. And I'm going to try to carry on tomorrow with the rest of the alignment process. We'll see if we can get that stereo light to turn on. Great. See ya.